Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this handy little box. Looks pretty simple, but there's a hidden secret about this box. I made it on the CNC, and the reason that it's unique is because of the alignment pins that are in each corner. This box is completely scalable. You could go to any size you wanted to. It could be any height you wanted. It could be any width, etc., all because of those fancy alignment pins. And those pins were made on the CNC as well. So if you want to know how I did this, stick with me and let's get started. All right, we're going to start with a little mill work here. Not much, because I lose viewers when they're watching too much mill work, but as you can see, I put a little board there on the left that helps me align for my zero, and I continue to put that board in every time. That way I don't have to re-zero for my corner. I do, however, re-zero for Z each time, just in case there's some sort of a change in the thickness of the wood. In this case, I was going to check it against the other pieces I had, and it was similar. I hate to run a CNC without a dust boot, so punching holes, and then we're going to start cutting the pocket. There you have it. And then we just break these little guys out. You could take them off with a bandsaw if you wanted to, but they break out nice and easy. We're going to check and see if they fit, which they do. They don't need to go in all of the way. They need to stick up a bit so that they grab the next piece as we put them on. And as most of you know, I don't use tabs. I just don't cut all the way through the project, and I use the bandsaw here to sever the connection between the stock and the piece. It just seems much easier to me to do this than to continue to destroy my wasteboard. Now, I will cut into that wasteboard if I need to for specific things, like those dowel pin holes. They do have to go all the way through. Now, I would normally take a flush trim bit or this process here and sand it in so that it's flush. A flush trim bit would work as well. But you have to sand it anyway to make it look pretty. And there you have it. That's a top and bottom piece. You'd use the same programming, which I'm going to do programming later at the end of this video to show you how to program for this. But that piece right there is matched, top or bottom. Sanding off the end grain a little bit to make the grain pop. I'm going to cut the corners or break the corners so that it's not too sharp. Everybody loves sanding. And the machine is running behind me, so it's always fun to be working. There's the top. So top and bottom working together. Checking to see if my theory will work, that they're flush, and it most certainly is. There's no sanding as far as the edges go together. That's just the way it come off the machine after I belt sand it. That is a riser piece. You'll take out the center. As you can see here, the centers are gone now. Let's do some checking and see if it fits. Has to be perfectly in line or it will not pop down on there. But I'm really excited about this. You could make a box that is 20 feet tall if you wanted to keep cutting risers. There's your dowels. I'm going to take a little CA glue here to put this thing together with. As I said, this is a concept box, but as you'll see here in the little bit, it really did come out pretty. So concept box turned into something that I'll end up giving Lisa here, and I'm sure she'll enjoy it. She'll find something to put in it. But it really does work slick. I'm overly impressed, thoroughly happy with this, the way that works. It's a good way to use up some scrap wood. It's a good way to make a nice little jewelry box. I was trying to decide if I was going to hinge it here or not. In the end, I decided not to hinge. I decided to cut finger grooves. And those guys there, I looked at them and said they would make nice nameplates or something. Gluing in the last dowels, the pins on the top to hold the lid in place. Just enough of a rise there so that it'll catch the lid. They are a nice tight fit. In the programming, you'll see that the dowels are 0.25 and the holes are 0.252. So it's just enough of a gap for them to go in. No need to destroy it. Alright, so if you're wondering why the extra clamp, you would think the vise would hold it. My vise doesn't squeeze square. I need to fix it against the bench so that it pulls in straighter or better square. So the clamp is actually holding the top closed so that I make sure it doesn't spread on me while I'm running that router across. In other words, inward like that, so those two stay together. Alright, so on with the programming. We're going to open up Maker. Going to go to New Model. We're going to make a model that is 7.5 by 5. Origin in the left corner. Click OK. Going to go to the square tool to begin with. We're going to drag a square out to the right. We'll adjust the size over here. The width is going to be 6. The height is going to be 4. And we're going to click Create. Going to make a second box on the inside. That box needs to be 1 inch smaller overall, at least for my box. We're going to invert the corners. You saw me check that invert corners. So the width will be 5.5 and the height will be 3.5. We're going to create that. Actually, we're going to grab the node and pull in the corner first to invert the corners, as I said earlier. Once we get that where we like it, there's no definite number here that you have to use. We'll click Create, go back to the cursor tool and switch to the 2D view. Now we're going to drag in some guidelines, and those lines need to line up with the inside box. When you get that symbol, you're on the line, dragging in from the left to the right now. That symbol again, we're in line. What we're trying to do is create crosshairs in the corner so we can use the circle tool to drill out the corners for the pins, for the locator pins. In this case, we went 0.252. The first hole I didn't make large enough, and I'll fix that here in just a second. And we go around to all 4 holes and create those circles. 252, 0.252. Clicking Create after each circle is made. I'm then going to go up to the cursor tool, click on the first hole, go to the transform tool, and I'm going to adjust that to 0.252. I need enough space for the dowels to go in. The dowel pins are 0.25, so I want to give myself a little bit of wiggle room to put those pins in with. Going to delete all the guidelines. We don't need those any longer. And that's the basis for this box. I'm going to activate the inside line. I'm going to go to an area clearance tool, and we're going to cut the shallow pocket. Now this will be the top and the bottom when you cut the pocket. I'm going to use a 1/4" end mill to do this. All of those settings look correct. The material thickness is 3/4 inch. I'm going to call this top and bottom. Because when you're making either of those, you'll use the same programming there. I'm going to turn off the light bulb so we can see what we're doing. Now we're going to go around and we're going to activate the circles or holes. Going to group those together. That'll also be an area clearance. Finish depth on those will be 0.7 because it's the bottom and the top. You don't want the holes to go all the way through. That'll be an offset tool strategy. Nothing else needs to change. We'll just name that holes, bottom, top. Closing that menu out. Again, shutting off the light bulbs to make it easier to see what we're doing here. Now you're going to pick the outside vector, and we're going to use a profile toolpath to cut this thing loose. Now I don't use tabs. I cut to 1/16 inch roughly to the bottom of the model, and then as you'll see later in the video, or you actually did see, I cut them out with the bandsaw and then sand them in. It's just easier than dealing with tabs. We'll name that cut loose. Again, turning off the tool paths, and now you're going to cut the donuts for the sections for however high you'd like to go. The inside line will be an inside tool path, not along or not outside. It's inside, cutting all the way through. In this case, you may want to put some tabs in. I didn't do that with mine. I used the drum sander to take the center out. I just kept sanding in until it came off. As I said, you may want to use some tabs here. I'll show you how to do that. And I would put those in on the long side of the box if I was going to put those in. Let's call this riser inside. And you can make as many of these as you like for however high you'd like the box. I always turn off the light bulbs, as we can see. You do have to recut the holes, or actually make a separate tool path for the holes on the risers, because they need to go all the way through. So that'll be a 0.75 depth of cut with a 1/4" end mill all the way through. That way your pins can pass through and you can continue to stack these things. Everything else is the same. Call these riser holes. Calculating now, closing out the menu. And we should be good. Okay, now we need to save these tool paths. What I'm going to do is pick groups of tool paths, top and bottom will be all together. That'll be one tool path with one bit. We don't need to change anything. We'll move all the things off that we don't need. We obviously need to still cut it loose. And we'll put the top and bottom tool paths on the active side once more and give that a different name. I always like to cut the thing loose last, obviously, so I moved that from the top to the bottom. It does each of these processes from the top tool first and works its way down through the menu. Clicking Save. And I realized that I forgot to show you the dowel pins. I put 4 of them right along each side of both risers and bottom and top. I use the block and copy tool. Distances are gaps. X gap is 4. 1 column, 4 rows, click Apply. And it gives you 4 of them. And then I simply pulled those down so that they were in the center to not interfere with my clamps. And I added the tool paths for those, which are profile tool paths outside, finish depth 0.7 again. You don't want these guys getting loose. They'll fly around like little bullets. So you want them to sit still. You'll break them up or cut them off later. No bridges or tabs. It's not necessary. And we'll call these dowels. And they'll get cut out with both top, bottom, and risers. And it'll look something like that. Now, if you've made it this far, I want to thank you very much. Give us a like, share, and subscribe if you got any value out of this. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.